Greetings. It is Juneteenth, 2025. A few events going on in Chicago today and all this week, for sure, probably on the weekend. People are representing, and I am representing Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to everybody over on Twitch, everybody on Kick, everybody on YouTube, and everybody on Facebook. Chicago's in the building. Oakland is in the building. London is in the building. Brixton is in the building. I first heard about Brixton from listening to Steel Pulse. San Francisco in the building. Alexandria and Sterling, Virginia is in the building. Buffalo, New York is in the house. Oh, you said you tried to cash out me? My cash app is Pharaoh El-Aton. Money sign Pharaoh El-Aton. You got to put the A before the O. That's probably where you made your mistake. Anytime you spell Pharaoh, always remember Ra, the sun god. It's Ra, R-A-O-H. Let's see who else is here. We got Los Angeles, California in the building. We got Brother Elijah Farrakhan in the building. Good to see you. We got Oakland in the building. Shout out to all my people up in Oakland. I'm going to be up in Oakland this summer, probably around August. I will be in Oakland. I will be going live from Oakland this summer. Working out my travel arrangements now. Looking forward to getting back to California. What's my stance on Juneteenth flag and people using the Pan-African flag for Juneteenth events? That's a great question. That's a great question. The flag that they are using for Juneteenth is not the Pan-African flag, actually. It's not the Pan-African flag, despite what some people say. And that's a great question. I'm going to break that down. That's a great question. But that's not actually the Pan-African flag. And that's a great question because that's never been clarified. That's never been nobody's never broke that down. So let me be the one to break that down. Dre, you be on top of it. So let me find a picture to show you the great example. of why that is really not the Pan-African flag. And that's very interesting. That people do say that. Now it depends on which. It depends on which flag you're talking about. But Dre, basically, what a lot of people don't talk about is that black people have been making modern history. So black people have been making history. And they've been upgrading history. And so now this is the Pan-African flag. Right here. This is the Pan-African flag. And Marcus Garvey was most known for this flag right here. Right? And this was pushed. This Pan-African flag here never really got a chance to be used. Right? So this flag never got a chance to be used. This was Marcus Garvey really pushed this flag back in the 40s back then. Right? But the flag, the Pan-African flag didn't really get a chance to it never got a chance to grow. So the Pan-African flag never got a chance to grow into the future. It ended up getting mixed into ended up getting mixed into our culture. And so I was born in 1958, so I can really tell y'all this is real history. So the Pan-African flag, when you get to the 60s, it didn't get to mix into the culture. Okay? Because the symbolism in the 60s didn't really have a color base. It was based on a fist. The fist took over. The Black Power fist took over. And so when Black Power took over in the 60s, then they used some red, black, and green during the Black Power movement. So meaning that generation that's coming up, my generation, I'm born in 58, we didn't know that red, black, and green was Pan-African. Because by the time you got to the 60s, red, black, and green was not Pan-African. It was a part of some color associated with Black Power, and Black is beautiful. And so by the time you got to the 60s, watch this. Right? I'm the person to come to if you really want to know the history. By the time you got to the 60s, red, black, and green was Black Power. It was mixed with the Black Power movement. The Black Power movement had hints of Africa, but it was more based on like Black pride, Black is beautiful, and things like that. So the red, black, and green never made it from Garvey until now as Pan African. It never made it. Okay. It never made it to the younger generation. It was mixed in with the Black Power fist. So the most popular red, black, and green when I was growing up in the 60s, the most popular place where we saw red, black, and green was on Afro pics. This Afro pic, people would have in their head, they would either have the black one with the black fist on it, and then this one did well because you could fold it and put it in your pocket because those fold down. And so this one was very popular just because it could fold and you could put it up and it wouldn't be sticking. The one with the fist, people used to just stick it in their hair to keep it because if you had it in your back pocket and you sit in your car, you could rip your daddy's car seats or rip your car seats. So the one that fold down like this became popular and it was red, black, and green, but it was associated with Black is beautiful. It wasn't associated with Marcus Garvey. It was associated with Black Power and Black is beautiful. So a lot of people that wasn't here, they don't understand these transitions. So by the time you got to the 60s, red, black, and green had nothing to do with Africa anymore. It had something to do with being proud to be Black, and Africa was used as a sense of pride as far as your Afro and looking African, but not actually going to Africa. So in the 60s, they wasn't pushing going to Africa, but they was pushing looking like Africans with your Afro, the root, Afro, African fro. So red, black, and green wasn't Pan-Africanism in the 60s. Okay. Okay. Red, black, and green was not Pan-African by the time you got to the 60s. Pan-Africanism was not popular in the 60s. Black pride was popular because Black people was trying to get that perm out their hair and stuff like that, and was trying to say, Black is beautiful, was more of an issue because people was coming from the South and they were saying your hair was kinky and your lips was big, and Black people were made to feel ashamed of themselves. So the 60s was all about being proud of your lips, your hair, your skin. Black is beautiful. Mixed with Black power. In the 60s, they always talk about Black power, but Black is beautiful was also a part of the 60s. So it was a Black is Beautiful movement, and it was a Black Power movement, right? But this had nothing to do with Africa. Africa was out of the picture. And Africa did not get back in the picture with the red, black, and green flag. Didn't get Africa back into the picture. What got Africa back in the picture when you get to the late 70s was the Rasta flag, the Ethiopian flag. So with the Rasta, this became the big flag in the 70s. And this was international because some Rastas was in Africa, some Rasta was in Trinidad, some Rasta was in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, some Rasta was in Jamaica, some Rasta was in America. So this became the spark that brought this back, because it was Marcus Garvey that said, look to the east where a black king shall be crowned, for the day of redemption is near. So when the Rasta movement took off in the 70s, Marcus Garvey's popularity rose. And when his popularity rose, then these colors rose. This is how the red, black, and green went back to Pan-Africanism. Right? So we got this flag, Marcus Garvey, then it goes to Black Power, Black is Beautiful, then it goes to the Rasta. When it go to the Rasta, then it go back to the red, black, and green. Now, he want to know what made them put the gold in with the three colors. This was done by a reggae band from England called Steel Pulse. Steel Pulse brought this out because Steel Pulse made a very popular song doing this Rasta movement, Pan-African movement, and the song went, rally round the flag, rally round the red, go black and green, right? That's what Steel Pulse was the one that added the gold. And then the idea came, red for the blood that we shed, green for the land that was stole, black for the people, and gold for the wealth. And that was in the 80s. And Steel Pulse single-handedly did that when they made Rally Round the Flag, which is one of the biggest. So from the time Steel Pulse made that song, right, then all of those flags basically represented one thing. This flag, and this flag was all the same. So from that point, these colors became Black international colors. These colors didn't represent Africa. They represented melanated people all over the world. All of those colors was just part of one movement now. So you would go to a festival, you would see all that. You see people in red, black, and green, red, gold, and green, red, gold, black, and green. You would see people in all those colors. That all those colors were considered one. Because Marcus Garvey was tied in with the Rasta. Because Marcus Garvey was a Pan-African that pushed reparations. Repatriation, Africa for the Africans. And Marcus Garvey was a Jamaican. So Marcus Garvey being a Jamaican, this flag represents Jamaican history for the fact that Marcus Garvey promoted this Pan-African flag. So that tied Pan-Africanism to Jamaica through Marcus Garvey. So Rasta was tied through the whole world. It become a whole world thing. It become a whole world thing. So when the younger generations keep coming, they don't know the facts. All they know is they've seen those colors. So the reason so many people for reparations and for Juneteenth, the reason so many people use all four of these colors for Juneteenth, because their parents used to come home with red, gold, black, and green little ornaments and little necklaces and stuff. So that these young people grew up seeing them colors. And that represented black. It didn't represent Africa no more. It represented black culture. So red, black, and green and gold represents black culture now. It's not Pan-African anymore. It represents any black culture anywhere. If you have something and we see them four colors, we know that's black people stuff. That's what it means today. And see, meanings don't stay stuck. Meanings evolve. So these colors represent black people. They don't represent Pan-African. It represents the Caribbean. It represents Brazil, wherever black folks is at. When you see them colors, that means black people. When you see red, gold, black, and green, that's black folks. Straight up, that's what it means today. Most of them, they don't know that's a Pan-African. Most of them don't even have used just the three colors. A lot of them use the four colors, the three colors, whatever. All right, watch this. Watch. See? It just represents black stuff. Now. That's how you know it's a black event. See? See how that red, gold, black, and green? You see? You see this one? The red, black, and green flag, but the gold writing. So it's the Pan-African flag, but they put the gold writing on there. See? Because these are the babies that I raised. These are the ones that my generation taught them, and all they know is they seen the colors. Because in the 80s, these colors was everywhere. You understand? See, everybody was moving like this. See what this sister got on? See, that come from the 80s. Because you got to understand, you know what I mean? Like black folks, we don't like red, white, and blue. They're trying to bring it back for foundational black Americans, but I don't like red, white, and blue. Because no matter what somebody try to do, red, white, and blue represent discrimination for me. Red, white, and blue, You might say, oh, this is originally our flag, but that ain't got nothing to do with what we lived under. We lived under brutality under the red, white, and blue flag. The red, white, and blue flag ain't never been nothing good for us. I don't like red, white, and blue. I never wear red, white, and blue. Ever. Now, I support, the young brothers, the brothers coming up now trying to push that color for, for foundational Black Americans, but I ain't riding with it, though. I ain't gonna hate on them, but I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. That's just not happening. Yeah, that's not happening. That's out the question. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, when I started my company, I went with the Black Heritage flag. I went with this. That's the colors I decided to go with. So I decided to go with those colors right there. So I designed my logo based off of those colors right there, and I went with Pay Black Americans. That's what I'm standing on. The only thing it's missing is the green, right? So we Black. We had the wealth, the red for the blood that was spilled. Now we need the green. We need the green on this flag. We need our money. And we get our money, then we'll have the red, gold, black, and green. So my reparations flag is without the money. We want the money. We Black. The gold for the wealth was stolen, the black for the people, the red for the blood that was shed, but where the green? You know what I'm saying? That's what my logo say. My logo say, where the green at? I don't see no green on this logo. Run that bread, right? And shout out to Black Heritage. I represent Black Heritage. It's a method to my madness. Boom. Boom. You feel me? That's how I'm going. I'm going to Pay Black Americans. I ain't going red, white, and blue. I ain't going red, white. I'm going black, red, and gold. That's what I'm going. Me and red, white, and blue, we not cool till they pay me. Gotta pay me if I put on them colors. I still might not put them on because that ain't going to, when you pay me, that ain't going to take away the blood that was shed. That ain't going to take away everything was done to us. See, I ain't doing no red, white, and blue. I don't do 4th of July. I don't do none of that. I don't do Christmas. I don't do none of that. My sister just hit me up, say she want me to come out on the 4th. I don't know how to explain it to her because I never show up. So I think I'm just going to call and break it down to her and say, look, sis, I don't do the holidays like that. Set up another day. I'll come hang out with you. I don't want her to think I don't want to be around her, but I got to let her know. I don't do them. I'm not doing that. I ain't celebrated one of them holidays since I was a shorty. I haven't done no American holidays since sometime in the 70s. It's a fact. I became plant-based. Started growing my dreads in 78. I haven't done no European holidays, no American holidays, none, since 1978. 47 years. I mean, a lot of African countries had them colors anyway. I don't know what their reason for it was. So I don't know why they did it. You know what I'm saying? It might have had something to do with that. I don't know. I'd have to ask each country what was you know what I'm saying? I'd have to find out why that was like that. But I would say a high possibility. So I would say that's a possibility for sure. But I don't know the history on why they did it. But I know it was evident when you looked at the Bob Marley album. I know it was evident that a lot of the brothers and sisters was standing on that. You know what I'm saying? That a lot of them had that color scheme. That's one of the reasons. This is one of the greatest albums ever made. With the whole slave ships, with survival running across the people in the bottom of the slave ships, and all the countries like that. And for a young foundational Black American, this allowed me to do my research and study, Bob. They was giving us information. We didn't have the internet. So this is why people that's born now, that go back and try to criticize back then, they criticize them based on they got the internet. There was no internet, so any kind of information we could get was valuable. And it got to a point where all the information was coming through reggae. There was no other information. Scholars wasn't really nothing like that because lectures only mattered if you could book the lecture and where you going to book the lecture. So you have one lecture in New York and you might have one lecture in Chicago. Who going to get to hear that? And there's 30 people at each event. Ain't number 60 people. Ain't no video back then. All them videos you seeing of all them scholars, them videos came out later. People had them, and then they got YouTube and said, we could post this on YouTube. But if it wasn't for YouTube, nobody would never see them Dr. Ben lectures and all them lectures. They only can see that because of YouTube. Nobody knew what they said if you didn't go to the lectures. There was no information like that. So people that come up in this new information era, they think that everybody always had information. They lost. That's why they be trying to argue with me, but we don't match because I'm in your generation. You ain't never been in mine. I'm here with you now. I know what you do. I know your Instagram and all that. Where was you in 1970? Oh, you wasn't here. Okay, shut up talking to me. I win. I seen your life. You ain't seen man. You ain't seen none of that. You don't know nothing. No. A lot of lectures was free. Lectures was free. They made their money selling books. You go to most of the lectures would be at universities. The Black Student Union would have it. DFAM, the Black Student Union. So if you go hang out around the colleges, right? If you go hang out around the colleges, that's where all the action was at. So it's like rosters, we was always around the college comedic bros because that's how we was booking shows. We did a lot of performances for student unions and for Black people at the colleges. Also, they was the ones coming to the reggae show. So if you're having a reggae concert, you're going to go to the college and give out flyers, right? You ain't going to try to run all over the city to find a bunch of young adults. When you can find them at the colleges, boom, go to Circle Campus, boom, go to the University of Chicago, boom, go to Kennedy King College. It's easier to find everybody. You let all the young people come to their buildings, then you go to them buildings and bam, bam, bam. So that's the same way where the knowledge was at. It's at the colleges. Malcolm X was at the colleges. That's how UEP and all them heard Malcolm, at the colleges. That's where he was speaking at. Dr. Ben was at the colleges. Dick Gregory was at the colleges. They was at the colleges and universities. That's where the action was at. The action was always at the colleges. Same now. If you want to go in to get into rap and you're a rapper and you're just trying to get in the game, you got to go up to the colleges. That's where the action is at. They got the college radio stations playing the hip hop. You got to go there. That's where your fan base is at, the colleges. That's what it was called. It was called Circle. It's called Circle Campus. There ain't nothing cute about that. It's called Circle. That's what it's called, Circle Campus. Yeah, it just got built. They used to hang out up there after school. You gotta understand something. Chicago, downtown Chicago was called the Loop. That's why it's called Circle. Downtown was called a Loop. See, because it's a loop right here where the freeways met. See the loop? So downtown was called a Loop. Circle Campus is right there by the loop. This was called a Loop. Downtown was called a Loop. People say, I'm going down to the Loop. That meant downtown. This is the highway to take you anywhere. You want to go to Wisconsin? You want to go to Indiana? Where? You can go to 4 different states from here. You understand? You can go for 4 different states. You can go to 4 different states. That's what's called a loop. Downtown was called a loop. I'm going down to the loop, going shopping in the loop. And Circle was called Circle Campus. Boston made Miss Juneteenth a Haitian girl. They probably don't know no better. At the Juneteenth parade and celebration in Boston today, they were flying Haitian and African flags. You know, anything goes nowadays. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what they're doing. They just out there. Ain't no Haitian stuff going on, no African stuff, so they going to show up at any black event because there ain't nothing going on. And people don't know nothing too much no more. Yeah, you told us that. SC88, you told us that. You already said that. Why you saying all that 3 or 4 times? No, I don't be paying attention to negative stuff like that. I don't pay no attention to negative stuff like that. Black Americans, Foundation of Black Americans, ain't standing on reparations. So how serious you want to be about? You know what I'm saying? You can't wait till Juneteenth and do no fake FBA, ADOS stuff. Foundation of Black Americans ain't standing on reparations like that. So all that paying attention to oppositions and all of that. What do that mean if you ain't standing on nothing? You know what I'm saying? What do it mean? Why would we get all an uproar in that, but we ain't standing on reparations? You know, I'd be just confused. Not just FBA. You're not pushing reparations. SC88. You're not pushing reparations. You're not. You're not pushing reparations. Where can I go see? Where can I go see 20 reparations posts? FBA is not pushing reparations, bro. Reparations talk about tethers more than they talk about reparations. That's a fact. If you were somewhere I could meet you, I put up 5,000. I want to debate over. I put up $5,000. Who can show the most? And if I can show more tether posts before you can show that amount of reparation posts, you pay me the 5 racks. That's a fact. You say I ain't been paying attention. I've been pushing reparations more than you and everybody you've been watching. Ain't nobody been pushing reparations as hard as me. Is you kidding? Yvette's pushing it, but she ADOS. Wrong colors at the thumbnail. No, those are the right colors. That's the colors people use for Juneteenth. That's the Juneteenth colors. For sure. Yeah, that's the Juneteenth colors. That's what it looked like to me. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not, you see what he's saying? This is the kind of stuff you push. So I'm glad you put that. That's all you've been doing. See, you ain't been pushing reparations. You've been pushing stuff like this, tethers and this kind of foolishness. And you just told on yourself. You ain't been pushing. This is what you've been pushing. This is what you've been standing on. Okay? Don't come over here playing. This is what you've been standing on. This is what you've been pushing. Beefing and stuff. You have not been pushing reparations. As a matter of fact, you ain't even got your real name over here. You're a coward. You're over here disrespecting Yvette and your name, SE88, or you scary, not showing your real identity. You soft. You ain't pushing nothing because we don't even know who you are. So you don't represent nothing but a coward. You don't represent nothing. Your name SE88. You can't push nothing with no fake name on social security, on social media. You don't represent nothing. You're a coward. You won't even show your real identity. How you pushing something? Now you want to disrespect Yvette that's showing her real name and you hiding behind a fake name disrespecting somebody. Nobody don't even know who you is. You could be the police for all we know. You could be an FBI agent. Look, man, let me tell you. Come back tomorrow. I don't mess with people like you, bro. I knew you was on nonsense when I seen you come over here. He ain't stand up for no reparations. That's all he be doing, that type of stuff. And you don't even know who he is. That man don't care nothing about no reparations, nothing like that. Scary. He'll talk crazy to me because he ain't got his real face. He ain't in Chicago. But in Chicago, his real face, he ain't gonna say nothing. Anybody could do all that woofing and all that trolling with with a fake name. We don't even know if that's a black person. I knew it when he came over here. I seen it early. I saw here we go. Here go one. I knew it when he came over here. No, FBA is not pushing reparations. You don't see reparations nowhere on social media. He said, I ain't been looking in the right places. I shouldn't have to look, right? I shouldn't have to look for that. If you pushing it, as soon as I open YouTube, I should see it. As soon as I open Instagram, I should see it. As soon as I go to X, I should see it. I shouldn't have to try to go find it. If I got to go find it, you ain't pushing it. They not pushing reparations, okay? You haven't, man, the reparations movement is weak. You got to wait till Juneteenth then. Oh, yeah, reparations, But all these months, quiet. Most of the FBA spent all their time disrespecting the sister running for president. They spent all their time with that. They wasn't talking about no reparations. They was disrespecting Harris, trying to show how Harris ain't FBA. That's all FBA be doing, trying to show who ain't FBA. They spend too much time trying to show who not FBA and no time trying to get reparations. It ain't nothing I want to talk to them about because that's all they do is argue and stuff. And I ain't got the temperament for arguing. I don't do all that arguing in Chicago. You won't do that. Yeah, gonna turn ugly. I ain't doing all that. That's why I prefer to talk to you face to face, so we can get that part straight. Cause you ain't finna get all disrespectful. Cause we gonna take it somewhere else. We ain't finna do all that. So I don't really like to talk to people that wanna argue. I don't like talking to them on social media. That type of situation. I need to see you right here. They're gonna cut all that. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna take a little bit of wind out your sail. But when you can type, you're gonna type some more. You're the toughest person ever when you typing. Plus, in real life, I can just walk away. As soon as I see you on a loser, I don't even want to talk to you. I can read you. I can see what kind of person you are. I can see if you're taking care of yourself. I can see who I'm talking to. And you can see me seeing you, and that has an effect on you when I see you and you see me see you. All that wind gonna come out your sail. Because now we're gonna measure each other up. You're gonna look at me and you're gonna see I'm 67. You're gonna see what I'm standing on. I'm gonna look at you and see your age. You're gonna see what you're standing on. And we're gonna see who's standing on what. And you're gonna know you out your league right off the top. So you're gonna carry yourself accordingly. Like when I used to be around brethren, I wasn't in a league. I wasn't in Dick Gregory league. I wasn't in Dr. Ben league. I could see I ain't in a league. Let me just be quiet and listen. I ain't in a league. You know what I'm saying? Take it from somebody that been around a lot of people. I wasn't in their league. That's part of the game. You know what I'm saying? That's how you work your way up. You don't start off at the top. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of young dudes, they think you start off at the top. You don't want to put no work in the game. You think you could just come in the game and you're supposed to be Malcolm X. But you X marks the spot. I ain't trying to say nobody ain't in my league and nobody ain't. I'm saying you got to go get in that. It's not nothing that you brag about. It's something you work to do. It's not nothing you got to put in work. It's not nothing you can't beat on your chest. You got to beat the street up, and you got to put in the work. If you don't put the work in, how you just gonna be just, you know? If we had more lectures and the young people could go to more lectures, that would help. But they just be on the internet. But if we had more lectures in the community and stuff, that would, especially the young black man, that would teach them some decorum. That would teach them some rank and file and stuff like that, where he could go somewhere and just have to listen. He don't get to talk. When I was coming up, you don't get to talk. Dick Gregory didn't take no questions. Dr. Ben didn't take no questions. Don't take no questions. They get up there, they say, pop, 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 pop. All right, good night. Buy his book and go home. You don't get to question them. For real. These shorties, they ain't never met Chairman Fred. If they met Chairman Fred, I bet you ain't going to ask them a whole bunch of crazy questions. I bet you that. I got anything. I can set it up. Come to Chicago. You big mouth little shorty, you young dude, come to Chicago. We'll go holler at Chairman Fred. I want to see. I want to see what you're going to say to him. Because he's not going to let you talk. And he's not going to let you talk. He's not going to stand up there and listen to you. You're going to have some rank and file for Fred to listen to you. So as far as he's going to be concerned, if you ain't there to hear what he got to say, there ain't no need of y'all meeting. That's a fact. When I was around Sunrise and them, I didn't really talk. I didn't get to talk. I never talked, okay? I didn't talk. You don't talk. You don't do all that talking. You can't learn nothing like that. When you get around older brothers and sisters, you shut up. You don't talk. You cutting off your own blessings. Just suck it in. Your turn to come. But we got Juneteenth. And even when you look at the Juneteenth event, you don't see no reparations. It's just like Juneteenth. It's like we celebrating freedom, which is good. I'm happy with that. But I watched a bunch of reparations events, like little things where they selling and stuff. They didn't even have no reparations. Like it was like black-owned businesses came out to support Juneteenth, which is cool though. But reparations is not a subject, really. Like right now, if you're doing it in the black community and you took all the different subjects, reparations is way down the list for black Americans. They're still talking about Trump. Right now, in the black community, it's Trump. It's Iran, Israel. It's Russia and Ukraine. And a whole bunch of local stories. That's it. Like local stuff to happen. That's it. Reparations is not nothing from what I'm seeing. I don't see it nowhere. I just don't. I don't see it. And as far as somebody saying FBA pushing reparations, no, FBA is pushing beefing. Anti-African. FBA is talking about the Mexicans need to go. FBA talking about that kind of stuff. It's a lack of leadership. That's the leadership. The leadership ain't on it like that. The leadership don't be pushing reparations like that. Tyreek, that's my man. I support him 100%, but he pushed tethers. He more famous for tether than he is for reparations. I'd tell them, and with all respect, I'd be like, bro, you famous for tether. You made the word tether bigger than reparations. If I'm lying, then I'm lying. Tether is not bigger than the word reparations? Yes or no? Which is the biggest word, tether or reparations? Which one is the biggest? Right now with FBA, which word do FBA use the most? Tether or reparations? Listen, man, it is what it is. I say tether. Now, if I'm wrong, whose fault is that? If I'm wrong, that's still their fault. I'm not supposed to get that interpretation. It's tether, 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 tether. Nothing about reparations. No, y'all not. Y'all pushing a bunch of people on the internet with fake names, fake pictures, trying to pretend you standing on some real reparations. You ain't pushing nothing. When you say we, you ain't even got no we, bro. When you say we, you don't got no we. Ain't nobody standing with you. You just by yourself. 619. Ain't no we. You know it ain't no we in real life. You can't call them niggas to do nothing for you. What you mean we? Which one of them you could call and come help you do something? And then who they gonna come help? 619 Mac? That's not no real person. No such person. Ain't nobody signing on no reparations, bro. Stop lying. Y'all ain't applying no pressure to these Europeans for our money. You're applying all the pressure to foreign blacks that ain't got our money. You said it yourself. Parking tethers. You ain't saying nothing about Europeans that got your money. You just telling on yourself. You just said it right there. We pushing reparations and parking tethers. Parking tethers ain't pushing reparations. And you can't push reparations. Where's the person you pushing reparations to? Pushing it to who? Because the only person you named is tethers. Because you know you're not pushing these Europeans on nothing, bruh. Stop lying. You was not standing on these Europeans' neck for no reparations. You lying, okay? Stop lying, bro. They don't know you, okay? Bank of America, these people owes money. They don't know you. They never heard of you. You don't say nothing to them. Stop lying on this internet, bro. You're not pushing them. You're not saying nothing to them. Nothing. Stop lying on this internet. The only people you're getting personal with is other blacks. You're not getting personal with none of these whites that own these companies. Not a one. You can't name me 5 companies you've been pressing for reparations. Stop lying. You don't know what you're talking about. How you going to tell me? I'm the number one person pushing reparations. Who pushing it more than me? Yvette. Yvette. Facts. There ain't nobody pushing reparations more than me, bro. But Yvette. The guy from the Black Diaspora, he's standing on it. It's just a few people, bro. Ain't nobody pushing no reparations, man. Stop. I would see it. Hold on. Look, check this out, y'all. Look, everybody that pushed reparations, I posted, right? These people going to stop playing with me. Look, this is our TikTok account. Look who pushing reparations. Look, me. Look, me. Show me anybody, nobody in the movement got more reparations posts than me. And these posts ain't none of these internet people. These are mostly politicians and people here and there. The one you see the most is Yvette. Look, so how you gonna tell me when I'm watching? This is just to prove I'm watching. Stop talking to me. I'm watching. I search reparations every day. All you got to do is hashtag it. All you got to go is to go to YouTube and search reparations. So if they was talking about it, why ain't posting them? Watch this, y'all. You go to youtube.com. You go up to the top. You put in reparations. You put search. Then you go to this week. Bam. All right. Let me show y'all. They be lying. Stop playing out. Take your money. I'll bet you. I'll clean you out. I'll take your money. Okay, look. YouTube. The past week. This who talking about reparations. The sister from Black Diaspora, Republican Democrat gave reparations to everyone else. Okay, boom. Chicago mayor gives millions to Black people in reparation grants, and they still want more. Lies. Juneteenth, a case for reparations. The mayor. Reparations now from some sister with his shorts. Then look. No more reparations, no more reparations. Look, this is a news channel. And they talk about reparations, maybe, okay, they talk about the Maryland's caucus. But look, okay, you got Roland Martin twice. Look how weak it is. Look. The complexities of reparations. And check this out. It never be this many reparations posts. You know why it's this many reparations posts now? Because of Juneteenth. Soon as Juneteenth is over, and by the time we get to July and you come back, you ain't going to see number one or two. The rest of it going to be news. They do this every year. They wait till around Juneteenth. They wait till Juneteenth. They wait till the little reparations event finna happen. And then they come out, hey, reparations. By the time we get to October, they ain't going to be saying nothing. Facts. 619 Mac, I'm telling you the facts. That if I would have did this 2 months ago, you wouldn't have seen nothing on there. I haven't been finding nothing to post. Now, because it's Juneteenth, there's going to be a whole bunch of reparations posts. It's going to last June, July, a little bit August. By the time we get to September, quiet. A matter of fact, last year, the only big post was when California dropped the ball. Everybody was talking about California reparations. But as far as individuals making posts and making lives about reparations, you did not just see that. If they was standing on reparations right there, you would have seen all of these reparations people. You would see posts all the way down. You don't. You do not. When you go to your, so wait a minute. So when y'all go to y'all Instagram, y'all be seeing reparations posts? Because I don't. Y'all be seeing them? Y'all be seeing reparations on y'all Facebook and y'all Instagram? I don't. I don't be seeing it. I don't be seeing it at all. The whole election campaign, all they was doing was hating on Harris and Biden, and that was it. It was all. It was just like every time it's the same thing. They apply no pressure to Trump or Harris for reparations. They just let Trump just get in there. They ain't been, man. I can't. You know, one thing I can't stand. I can't stand the lie. I can't stand the lying. And this way, we're not going nowhere. You see, we're not going to go nowhere because people actually think that the reparations movement is strong. And if anybody thinks that the reparations movement is strong, when you go to all the Juneteenth celebrations, you don't see no shirts or nothing say reparations. They're out there. I'm selling my black soap, and which is good that you got black businesses out there, and you're a black business. I understand. Because I was a black business. And if it's something where black people going to go, you're going to go out there and sell your stuff. I understand that. But it's still, it ain't pushing that. When you go watch Juneteenth presentations, it's all historical. It's all like, oh, this is what happened to us in Juneteenth, and this is what happened in slavery, and this one we got released. And ain't nobody like, okay, but what you going to pay us for what happened to us? Because if Juneteenth represents the day they let you free as a slave, then every Juneteenth you're supposed to be asking for your money, I would think. That you're supposed to say, yeah, this is what you did to us. Now when you going to pay us? But no, you know what we do? This is what happened to us. 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 Everybody lean on what happened. Juneteenth was horrible. They did this to us. They did that to us. Ain't nobody asking for the pay for the abuse. On Juneteenth, reparations is weak. Today, reparations is weak. Today is weak. See, look, he said, Harris said flat out she wasn't doing nothing. See, off subject, right? What that got? See, what that got to do? What that got to do with it? What that got to do with you standing on it? This is the kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that was happening in the whole election. This is what they was on. She said she ain't gonna give it to us. She said she ain't gonna give it to us. She said she ain't gonna give it to us. She said nobody was saying give it to us, give it to us. How you gonna get something when you constantly saying somebody said they ain't gonna give it to you? That's how you get it. So wait a minute. Is that how you get reparations? By repeating somebody said they not gonna give it to you? She said she wasn't gonna give it to us. What that got to do with you standing on? And what did you say when she said that? I didn't say nothing. I just accepted. She said she ain't gonna give it to me. How many people trolled her for reparations? No, they trolled her on. She ain't gonna do this. She ain't gonna do that. She ain't gonna do that. Right? That's all they did the whole election. That ain't how you get nothing by trolling, talk about everything other than what you gonna get. That ain't how you get it. So he proved my point. That's what they wanted to do. You see how he jumped on that? Harris, that's what they was on. Harris ain't no good. Harris ain't no good. That's all they did the whole election. The whole election, all the black people do is argue about stupid shit. But wasn't standing on nothing. What they were standing on is what Harris wasn't, what Trump wasn't. That's it. The whole election. It was disgusting. They had no agenda other than talking about who gonna do something for them. How you gonna get something when your whole agenda is not standing on what you want, but standing on who gonna give you something, and you ain't even telling them what you want. How you get something when you ain't demanding it? Look, I'm for reparations. If Harris got in there, would she give me reparations? Yes. I'm going to demand reparations. I'm not going to be like, well, she said she wasn't going to give it to me. What kind of, what? How you get something when you concede to somebody say they're not going to give it to you, like she the issue. The issue is we want reparations. If you a soldier, she going to give it to you. No, you basing it on what she going to do, which means you ain't going to stand on it. So no, she not going to give it to you because you not going to stand on it. Look, how's that going to be and make us indigenous to the land? See? More nonsense. More nonsense. And ain't pushing that. Are you pushing being indigenous to the land? No. So what you want to do, I'm trying to push reparations. You're not pushing reparations. You're not pushing indigenous to the land. But you see me pushing reparations, so now you want to push indigenous to the land to me. But once you get off here, you're not pushing being indigenous to the land. So why you asking me how I'm going to push something you ain't pushing? Jaden, you're not pushing being indigenous to the land. What's your Instagram? Y'all gonna stop playing. What's your Instagram? Let me go see how much indigenous posts you making. Stop playing with me. He ain't making no indigenous posts. None. That man ain't trying to push no indigenous nothing. He just playing with me because he say I'm pushing reparations. This man right here, he not pushing nothing indigenous. This kind of stuff you got to deal with. He see me trying to push reparations. He like, what about being indigenous? What about it? Show me where you pushing that. Oh, you not. Okay. He not pushing nothing indigenous. Himself. He gonna ask me how we gonna push something he ain't even pushing. Bro, you just asked me how would demanded reparation affect us pushing, and you not pushing nothing. You disrespecting, bro. You asking me when you see me how we gonna push something, how somebody that ain't pushing nothing gonna ask me how we gonna push something when you ain't pushing nothing. So we not gonna push nothing because you ain't pushing nothing. Us pushing something is me and you pushing it. So why you ask me what we gonna do when you ain't gonna help me? So we ain't gonna do it because you ain't gonna do it. Your question was fake and fraudulent. You meant it just like that. You just don't know what you was doing. You was doing what they always do. When you're trying to stand on something, people come with distractions and confusion. You see me trying to stand on reparations? Well, how's that going to help us be indigenous? Okay, show me your indigenous. But I don't want no being indigenous. I want my money. I don't care nothing about being no indigenous. If you did me wrong, I want my money. Period. I don't know what you even talking about. If I was here and you took my land, give me my money. Give me my money. I'm not finna argue with them indigenous and all that. I've been here forever. Case closed with all that. Don't matter if I'm indigenous or not. Was we slaves? Did you not pay us? Did you discriminate against us? All that indigenous nonsense. But ain't nobody trying to hear none of that. Did your relatives get paid for their work? Yes or no? And is you trying to get your great granddaddy money? Your great great granddaddy, whether he indigenous or not, did they misuse your great great granddaddy? Did they misuse them? Yeah, you ain't talking about nothing, bro. You're not talking about nothing. What's your name? Yeah, you're not talking about nothing, MOB. I don't got time. You ain't talking about nothing, bro. I need people gonna be talking about something. You ain't talking about nothing. You want to be on some childish stuff. I ain't doing that. You go find where Harris is in the conversation, bro, and talk about Harris. I'm not doing no weirdo stuff, bro. MOB, you one of the reasons we ain't get reparations. You was one of the distractions. You was one of the distractions. You still a distraction today. You want to take the conversation on Harris. You want to take the conversation on some old kitty stuff. Come on, MOB. Ain't nothing gangster about what you talking about, bro. That's feminine, actually. So how you MOB? And you over here talking about some weirdo stuff about you pack somebody out on the internet. He said he packed, you know what I'm saying? Trying to talk some gangster talk about, bruh, you soft. Change your name. Ain't nothing mob about that, bro. I don't know why you trying to call yourself MOB and say some weirdo stuff. Man, we was on the internet. We internet packed somebody out on the internet. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? That's what that sound. That sound masculine to y'all? That sound masculine. Some man on the internet talking about he packing somebody out on the internet and all they doing is, so he was typing. That's how he packed her out with Twitter fingers. He packed her out like this. He called that packing her out. That's packing, you know what I'm saying? And packed in somebody gonna deport his goofy ass. On top of that, let's talk about who you got in there. They're gonna do you dirty too. A way to not deal with who's in there and what they out here doing, bro. I don't be wasting my time, bro. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not wasting my time, bro. I don't do all that. Come back tomorrow. I don't want to talk to you, bro. I don't do no feminine internet shit, bro. I ain't doing all that. Come back to you're a distraction. You're a distraction. I'm not talking to you. It's Juneteenth and we still ain't pushing reparations. We still ain't got no control of the internet. We still ain't got no internet army. We still ain't got nobody focused on reparations. We still ain't got nobody focusing on who we supposed to be going at. Still today. Still today. Still today, we giving these people a pass. Let's take a break. Look who we supposed to be going at. Tell them people owe us money. Now we supposed to be on their necks. We supposed to be on their necks. Not no African brother. It's like I go outside. Let's say you're an African brother. You in the neighborhood. You weird. You ain't, you know what I'm saying? You outside and Jamie outside. Jamie owe me 2 racks. You you ain't really cool. You know what I'm saying? You don't really mess with the guys. You don't really hang out. You act on stand out because you're African. I come outside. Dude owe me 2 racks. You don't owe me nothing. You just not cool. Which one do I go holler at? The dude that's just not cool? Or do I go get my money? That's what I'm talking about. Somebody talking about MOB. But you don't represent no make nothing gangster or nothing. Because gangsters gonna go get their money, man. They're gonna concentrate on their money. If somebody owe them a bag, that's top priority. Now America owe us a bag. Period. Now, let's say I get to him, he owe me 2,000, and you come up and say, well, he ain't gotta give it to me. Before I get back to him and do you dirty, I got to, okay? So all you black people keep saying, they ain't got to give me my money. You in violation. Because if you don't feel like we should get reparations, just shut up and just don't get yours. Why is you blocking everybody else's? What gives you the right to speak for everybody because you don't want it? You feel like they don't got to give it to you. Okay, shut up and just don't get yours. But as far as talking for me, that'd go bad. If I met one of y'all that say they don't supposed to give us reparations, I ask you, do you think they should give me my reparations? I want reparations. Do you think they should give it to me? I ain't talking about no we. I'm talking about mine, from my family. And do you think you should block my money? Would you block my money? Would you go out here and tell these people not to give me my money? Because that's a problem in the streets. You get out there telling them don't give me what I want my money, and you tell them don't give it to me because you were lame? See, that's because ain't nobody standing on reparations. These brothers are supposed to be too scared to speak against reparations. They supposed to be ousted. They supposed to know everybody gonna block them. Nobody gonna follow them. Nobody gonna listen to you. But everybody gonna keep listening to them because you ain't standing on reparations. That's why they on social media saying they ain't supposed to give it, because people that say they for reparations, you still watching them losers instead of blocking them and let them talk to each other. Period. If you own this thing tomorrow, reparations ridiculous, unfollow, block. And y'all get y'all little group together. But why would we let them come into our group speaking against what we want? Because if I'm in front of Trump or whatever, and you say, I don't think we should get on, I'll be like, don't listen to him. He a loser. We're going to deal with him later. I would tell him, don't listen to you. I don't know what make you think you can get in the way of somebody's money when they believe somebody owe them some money. You don't do that in the streets. That's why I don't like the internet like that, but I don't mind teaching. I don't mind coming over here. But the thing I don't like about the internet, only on the internet, where brothers believe they owed something, where another brother saying they ain't got to pay us. If you did that on the streets and somebody believes somebody owe you something, you spoke against it, you'd be trouble. It'd be trouble. It'd be trouble. It'd be trouble if you got in the way of my money. So I say somebody owe me some money and you jumped in that conversation saying they ain't got to give it to us, instead of you sit down and just don't get yours, you try to block mine too. Getting away with this foolishness on this internet. And you know why? Because the reparations movement is soft. Don't you know if the reparations movement was strong, wouldn't be no black brothers on here saying we don't deserve it? They on here saying we don't deserve it because the movement is weak. If you put the pressure on these black Americans like you do in these tethers, brothers will stop saying that, but you ain't putting applying no pressure to these brothers on here telling these Europeans don't pay us. You ain't putting no pressure on them. You let them get right on here and tell these people, you ain't got to pay us, master. That was a long time ago. We don't want it. You ain't got to pay us. You ain't got to pay them. They just asking for it because I don't even want it, but you ain't got to pay them. You can only get away with that on the internet. You did that shit on the streets, it'd be a wrap for you. If you did that shit to me, because I want my reparations, and I'm serious about it. You better never walk up on me talking against reparations, because first thing I want to do is get the hell away from you. And if you follow me, you try to push it there, it's going to go where it's going to go. Because the first thing I'm going to tell you is get the hell away from me. You's a rat, and you's a traitor, and you's a snake, and you's a liar. And to every one of you black men that watch me that say we shouldn't get reparations, you all liars and snakes. Because when they give it to us, you'll be the first ones to run and try to get at the front of the line. This happens all the time. They only saying we shouldn't get it because they don't have no faith that we gon' get it. If they thought we was gon' get it, they wouldn't say that. They'll be trying to get theirs first. That's a fact. It ain't nobody want to get on no talk show with me or nothing and say, don't think we'll get it, because I'm going to tell you straight out that. You're just saying that because you don't believe we're going to get it. But if we're going to get it, you be the first one to run try to get it. You're going to be the first one to run try to get it. And in a lot of movements, when you go against the movement, they do stuff to you. That's another thing. Like if this was the mob, if this was really Italian mob, or this was really like some type of Teamsters union or something that said they want to strike until they get their money, and you said, no, they ain't going to never get it, what would happen to you? What would happen to you if a bunch of Irishmen or something put something together because they feel like the factory ain't paying on them? And these hardcore men put this movement together and when they got leadership and stuff to press this factory to pay them fair wages. What would happen if you was from the same race they was from and you got out there and told them they don't deserve nothing and you told the people they ain't got to give it to you? You know what happened to you? If you did that with any other race trying to get something and you was a part of that race and you was talking and blocking that race from getting from what they was trying to get, guess what happened to you? It's a fact. It's a fact. Guess what happened to you? Because if you come to me and say, they shouldn't give us no, I'll never respect you. To me, you'll always look like a sellout. I would never respect you. I definitely respect you as no man. And I definitely feel sorry for your ancestors that was in slavery. I know they would be just disgusted in you. You can't be no more disgusting because that's who you letting down. This is a debt owed to people that's not even here to collect it no more. Let's start there. So when somebody say, well, that was a long time ago, right? And we standing up for them. We standing up for them black people way back that couldn't stand up for themselves because they was under a military oppression. It don't even make no sense for us to get free if we ain't gonna stand up for them and what they did to our ancestors. They're gonna have to pay us for what they did to our ancestors. The same black people that don't stand up there, you respect them Jews. You respect them Jews for standing up for the Holocaust. See, this is what a lot of black men is phony. They ain't gonna tell them Jewish people to forget. They ain't gonna tell 9/11 people to forget. They gonna only tell their own brothers and sisters to forget. Don't tell their own people forget about it. To the point where it's Juneteenth and ain't nobody pushing reparations on Juneteenth. It's Juneteenth, and reparations ain't even the main conversation. The main conversation is we's free, we's free. We's free. We's free. We want to argue with Africans on the internet. Teaching them the wrong way. Instead of telling the African brothers, man, we don't even need to be getting down like this on this internet. We're supposed to be teaching them some sense. Supposed to be teaching African brothers, bro, we ain't supposed to be on this internet beeping and stuff like that. You need to be concentrating on what's going on in Africa. You understand? I don't see it. Plus the tether thing is bullshit. Anyway, Because don't come tell me nothing about no tethers taking opportunity, but you ain't making your children go to school. You letting your sons cut class. You letting your sons run around with switches. You letting your daughters run around naked, no education. You letting them take all kind of pills and everything. And you talking about tethers? But you ain't standing on your own people. The black man in America don't need to be arguing with no Africans or no brothers from the Caribbean. We need to be raising these stupid ass kids we got running around here. These little shorties. Because every one of you brothers from America, FBAs, that's got tethers, if you come to Chicago, you're not going to knock your noodles out your shit. It ain't going to be no tether. Yeah, it ain't going to be no tether going to do you dirty. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Yeah, to all you FBAs arguing with tethers, come to Chicago and see who's going to get at your glamour. Ain't no tethers to do nothing to Tyreek in Chicago, but these little dudes, they'll knock his shit out of his shit. Don't even know who he is. They'll do me the same way. They'll do me dirty. That's a fact. Ain't no African gonna do nothing. Ain't no African gonna do nothing. When I go outside, I don't be looking for Africans. When I go outside, I be looking for YNs and internet. I be looking for internet dudes. You see what happened to dude out there in Vegas? I be looking for internet dudes that think they could just run up. I go outside looking for you. That's how you stay alive in the jungle. In the jungle, you got to look for alligators, crocodiles, and snakes. You can't play in the jungle. I'm just here to tell y'all it's Juneteenth. It's remind you what they did to you. What you going to do about it? Are you going to stand up for your reparations? Are you going to push your reparations? That's it. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Push reparations and stop all the foolishness. Push reparations, let these people know they got to pay us. Don't let these people do us dirty and just get away with it. And our sons got to come, and our grandsons, and the next generation got to come. They ain't going to never have no respect for us until we stand on something. These people got to pay. They tell you right in your face, they ain't got the money for reparations, and then they're going to go spend trillions for a war right now. Right now, right in front of your face, they told you they ain't got no money, and they're going to spend trillions to deport people and trillions to go to war. They all of a sudden, they got the war. They got the money for Iran. They got the money for Iran. No problem. They got trillions for that. No problem. Reparations, where the money supposed to come from? But they'll take your tax dollars and spend it against Iran. Your money. They'll take your money and use it to help Israel. They're taking your money and giving Israel billions upon billions upon billions upon trillions of your tax dollars. And then when you ask for reparations for what they did to your ancestors, they say, where the money going to come from? Right in your face. And you say, I don't care where it come from because I'm over here arguing with tethers. That's my priority, is arguing with tethers. Tether. That's what that folks are. You know what I'm saying? Grown-ass men beefing, continental beefing on the internet. Grown men beefing and disrespecting each other on the internet across waters and different, you know what I'm saying? And then you want to disrespect the wives. At least the wives really get busy. You ain't getting busy, though. You ain't getting busy. You got the Twitter fingers going, making us look like idiots. Fuck, I look like arguing with some African or some brother back and forth on Twitter and stuff. Boy, I wish, man. Posting Africans all day and compromising situations while these people got our money. We ain't standing on that. We standing on the clown, the clown stuff. The stuff for views. You're going to get a lot of views with clown stuff. You ain't going to get no lot of respect when you're standing on something. Nobody want to watch that. And so sometimes you get so hungry for the views. You're so hungry. You ain't going to do what's right because what's right ain't popular. You got to go do something goofy. Goofy is more popular than righteousness. Standing on something ain't popular. Clown stuff is super popular. I can get right now, I can go and start beefing with somebody on YouTube and I get a million subscribers. For real. So let's wake up. Go get some books or something and learn something. Victory.